gave you the thumbs up.
Welcome to this Plan Commission meeting for July 19. I want to remind people to turn off their cell phones, please, or put it on vibrate. We don't need that interruption. If you have not been to a Plan Commission meeting before, staff will introduce the item, tell us about it in some detail with the staff report. We will ask technical questions, and then we open it up to the audience for public comment. After public comment, we close it, we come back to the commission, and we take a vote. So, on that note, would you call the roll, please?
David Borsak, Ed Bowen, Jeffrey Tomes.
Here.
Thomas Foytek, John Hintz.
Here.
Steve Cummings.
Here.
Kathleen Propp.
Here.
Donna Laurie.
Here.
Robert Weigert. Carl Nolenberger.
Here.
We have the July 5th meeting minutes. What's your pleasure, Commissioner?
So move.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved. First item is the planned development amendment to allow relocation of a driveway for a medical office building at the northwest corner of West 9th and Southwest Haven Drive.
It's me. Okay. The petitioner is requesting a plan development amendment for the relocation of a driveway to access a medical building, an eye care clinic, an accessory parking lot on a previously created .694 acre lot. The zoning ordinance establishes criteria and guidelines for the establishment and/or amendment of a PD overlay district in section 3033A1, and the city's access control ordinance is located in section 2591 through 25104.2. The existing land use map is on screen. The plan development amendment request addresses the eastern portion of the property. A 2-lot land division and certified survey map and plan development for the development of a medical office building was approved for this site on April 26, 2016. The plan development includes a driveway opening on West 9th Avenue that required the relocation of some utility structures. This has become infeasible, so the applicant is requesting an amendment to the plan development to relocate the proposed West 9th Avenue Drive to Southwest Haven Drive. The previously approved land division and plan development includes the creation of a new 694 acre parcel from the existing parcel to provide a location for the development of a professional office / eye care clinic facility, which includes a new driveway access on West 9th Avenue. The current plan development amendment retains all aspects of the original, but includes a request to relocate the driveway access on West 9th Avenue to Southwest Haven Drive. The original plan development was approved with 5 conditions, including the requirement to relocate utilities on West 9th Avenue. So the proposed West 9th Avenue driveway could meet corner clearance from Southwest Haven Drive and West 9th intersection. After investigation, the applicant determined that it would be cost prohibitive to move the utilities and therefore desires to relocate the proposed driveway access to Southwest Haven Drive. As a result of this plan development amendment request, 3 access control variances are requested in the form of plan development base standard modifications. The original West 9th Avenue driveway will be omitted, and the new full access driveway onto Southwest Haven Drive is proposed to service the eye care clinic and also serve as a shared secondary access to the dental clinic property. Vehicular access to the development is now proposed to the 24-foot wide full access Class 2 driveway on Southwest Haven Drive. The proposed new driveway placement requires 3 base standard modifications and access control variances. The variances include base standard modifications to corner clearance, spacing, and lateral clearance. For the corner clearance, the access control ordinance requires a minimum of 175-foot separation of driveways from intersections. The current site plan indicates a 158-foot separation. Staff supports this base standard modification and does not see the request reduction as an issue, primarily due to the minor reduction of 17 feet from the required 175 feet. The 158 feet will provide a stacking of 8 to 10 vehicles, and staff believes the provided 158 feet for corner clearance will appropriately accommodate traffic flow for the intersection. For a driveway separation, the access control ordinance requires a minimum of 105-foot spacing between driveway accesses on streets with a speed limit of 25 miles per hour. The current site plan indicates a 35-foot spacing between the driveway serving the property to the north and the proposed driveway to the south, West Haven Drive. Staff supports the base standard modification and views the request reduction as a preferred alternative to the originally proposed driveway access that was on West 9th Avenue. South West Haven Drive was significantly lower traffic levels compared to West 9th Avenue, creating a safer location for driveway access. Additionally, with the use of the north building being a funeral home and this being a medical office, staff does not anticipate high volumes of traffic creating an ingress or egress problem to the street. The lateral clearance, the new driveway is being intersected at approximately 40 feet from the edge of the right-of-way property line by the internal parking access aisle. The access control ordinance requires a minimum of 75 feet of lateral clearance, which provides space for approximately 4 vehicles prior to encroachment into the street. The proposal indicates 40 feet of lateral clearance, which will provide stacking for 2 to 3 vehicles. Staff supports this base standard modification and does not see the requested reduction as an issue, primarily due to the low intensity of projected traffic movement for the dental office and the eye care clinic. South West Haven Drive is a collector street that serves a lower level of traffic compared to West 9th Avenue, which is an arterial street with significantly higher levels of traffic. Staff finds the 3 base standard modifications of corner clearance, driveway separation, and lateral clearance to be suitable for West Haven Drive. Staff believes that the proposed plan development amendment will allow for improved traffic movement that will not compromise public safety. The original plan development conditions will remain the same except for numbers 2 and 3. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the proposed plan development amendment request with the additional base standard modifications. Conditions 1, 4, and 5 of Resolution 16195 will remain in effect. And base standard modification of South West Haven driveway approach spacing from driveway to the north of 35 feet. Base standard modification of driveway approach corner clearance to allow 158 feet in distance from driveway to South West Haven Drive and West 9th corner. And base standard modification to driveway approach lateral clearance of 40 feet for the South West Haven driveway.
Okay, technical questions? Yep.
The property to the north, is that the only drive accesses that mortuary, or is there a secondary?
I believe there's a secondary. Take a look on the photo.
I just can't remember.
Oh, no, that is the only one.
Only one. So, and the proposed driveway is only going to be a 2-lane driveway and doesn't have a 3rd lane turn lane?
Correct. It's Class 2.
So, at times, when the funeral home is in operation, we could have a traffic issue unless the people in the new addition use the exit on 9th Street that's in front of the other area to basically exit. I don't know how busy that particular mortuary is.
Correct. Also, when we reviewed it with the traffic engineer, the uses are, as far as traffic goes, are very complementary to each other because the medical office buildings, the dental and the eye care clinic, both have primary hours. Where the funeral home has primary in the evening and the weekends. So that further kind of mitigates the potential for having conflict. But this lot itself, again, has 2 accesses. One would still be on 9th, so they would have the option if there was a lot of traffic on West Haven.
And the reason not going to a 3rd turn lane is just that it would make that driveway even closer to the intersection, requiring even more of them.
Correct. And the volumes of traffic wouldn't really warrant a 3rd lane.
Other technical questions? Seeing none. Anybody from the audience that wants to speak on this issue? Come to the podium, please. Give your name and address.
Tim Carlson, 1377 Midway Road, Nasha. And I'm speaking for the development. As far as from what we did last time, this is a much better solution, in our opinion. Traffic works a lot much better, the parking lot works much better, and we're happy with it.
Any questions for you? No, thank you very much. Anybody else that wants to speak on this item? Seeing none, back to the commission. What's your pleasure?
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
just like to say, I actually prefer this particular solution in order to take those, those entrances off 9th Street, which is a much busier traffic area than West Haven at this point in time. So I'd be supportive of this.
Okay, any other discussion? Call the roll, please.
Bowen.
Aye.
Ince.
Aye.
Cummings.
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
Ellenberger. Holmes.
Aye.
Prop.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Item 2, Development Plan Amendment Review for the change of use at 135 Jackson Street, which was formerly Morton Pharmacy.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This is an amendment to the previously issued plan development for the former Morton Pharmacy building, and it is strictly a use amendment. So the petitioner is requesting an amendment to just change the use of the property from the former retail pharmacy use to a professional office or medical use. You kind of see the site here is on the northwest corner of Jackson and Marion Road. You're all familiar with it, I'm sure. It's about 1.8 acres. It is part of the Marion Road redevelopment area, Phase 2. You can see the zoning is C3 plan development, and the use right now, we have a lot of parking and vacant space, and it's showing as a commercial use. You have some multifamily to the south across Marion Road. To the north is a parking lot, and actually I'm going to go to the aerial, which is a little bit better. The north is a parking lot awaiting a development on this site here, and a small office building. Further to the west, you have some open redevelopment area. Further to the west, you have the Lamico site and the water tower, which is to be relocated to here. You have Jackson Street on the east. This was the site plan that was approved in 2009. It was Morton Pharmacy was part of a larger one that encompassed some of the multifamily and the office building. So this was basically the approved site plan and how it was built. I'm kind of going to go to sort of the larger area. It came in with this parking lot. At that time, there was going to be a mixed-use building here as well, which did not take place. But in 2009, or excuse me, in 2011, Morton Pharmacy closed, and the site has sat vacant for the last 5 years. Although it's been well maintained, but it has been vacant. So again, at that time, it's a 14,000 square foot building. It has one drive-through. It has a 76 stall parking lot associated with it. The use of the pharmacy and retail building, because it didn't only have a pharmacy, it also sold convenience goods and foods. That was permitted in the underlying C3 zoning district. So the change of use, Aurora Healthcare is proposing to occupy the building as is. They'll change the interior but not the exterior. Their application indicates that their proposed use includes up to four primary care providers, diagnostic imaging, laboratory services, physical therapy services, and possibly a pharmacy utilizing that drive-through again in the future. That in our code is considered a professional office use, a medical clinic, and that is also permitted under the C3 zoning. As I had mentioned, the site's going to remain the same, so the 76 stalls would still service this site. The C3 does not have a requirement for parking, but even if it did, the office use and the retail use have the same number of required parking stalls. And this development is at 76, they'd only be required to have 45. Access is going to remain the same as well. Primary access is off of Jackson Street, shared access point, can also go through shared drive aisles to get out to Pearl, also to get out to Marion, and is that Riverside Drive? Riverway Drive. And so all those access points are going to remain the same. So again, this is basically just a use change, and staff is recommending approval of the plan development amendment, change the pharmacy retail use to a medical clinic and professional office use as requested. We feel that the clinic use and professional office is appropriate for the structure, and we also feel that it's going to complement the existing residential and future commercial and retail tenants in the area, especially there's a lot of senior housing there as well. We're getting a lot more housing downtown, so even though it's not retail, which is highly desirable as well, this use is needed downtown and desirable for the whole community.
Okay, technical questions. John?
Just curious, the current signage that's out there, that also will remain the same? They'll just be changing it over to whatever they need on the existing signage?
I believe so.
Other questions?
Went round and round with that.
Jeff?
Just following up on it, do they have to come back and get that signage approved from here?
Nope, the sign itself, as long as they're just changing out the face of the sign, it has, in 2009, they also came in and got an amendment to the plan development to put a little bit larger monument sign with an electronic message center. So if they're just changing out the sign copy,
As long as it stays the same
Right.
size and stuff.
if they're going to remove it,
We've already permitted that under the last,
correct.
okay.
Yep.
Other questions? Anybody from the audience want to speak to this item? Nobody from the audience? Okay, one. Why don't you go to the podium,
Sure.
name and address.
My name is John Newman. I'm at 1013 Washington Avenue, but I serve as the president for Aurora Medical Center here in Oshkosh, and certainly we're excited about the opportunity to have a downtown location for what we're trying to accomplish with healthcare in Oshkosh, as well as being a member of Oshkosh and driving by the Jackson Street property. I just keep looking at that as a beautiful opportunity for somebody to have a vibrant place, and looking at what all the investment has gone into the area around it, as well as the recent investment that's been proposed. I just see that's a great match with, other than a grocery store, which I think everybody is telling, that's a dearth, which we'd love to have, with just healthcare opportunities in downtown Oshkosh is something that we feel that we have an obligation to serve this community with. We're growing out at our seams over there in kind of Aurora Medical Center in Oshkosh, out kind of on West Haven, and we look at the opportunity here as a good place for us to kind of extend some of our rehabilitation for physical therapy and occupational therapy, as well as primary care, to be delivered to our community. So I came here today to see if there's any questions that y'all had about kind of our interest in the property, but it's kind of consistent with our message, and what we're trying to do is just helping people live well.
Well, I have a question. Will this take away from Doctor's Court on Bowen Street?
The intention is not. I mean, some of the thoughts we've had is, would this, focus our patients from Doctor's Court down to the Jackson Street? With Mr. Zerby and I have a discussion back and forth. What do you think that would really do? I personally don't think it's going to take the patients, if they just choose to come here, it might. Our intentions are not to close Doctor's Court from any stretch of the imagination. The property on the other side of Doctor's Court, we're looking at moving some of our rehab capabilities from there to expanding them here on the Jackson Street.
Okay. Any other technical questions or questions for this individual? I guess not. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anybody else want to speak to this item? Back to the commission.
Second.
Discussion? Jeff?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I fully support and applaud Aurora for having some foresight and looking at planning as far as the way Oshkosh is developing with, we've got all the apartments right next door. We have the Morgan Street planning going on, the university system, and putting a medical facility in here shows not only their planning ability and commitment to the community, which, I'm all for. So, having this particular use down there, to me, makes a whole heck of a lot of sense, particularly in the way we're trying to grow this area in the future and have something that at times can be within walking distance or bike distance or whatever you want to do, or easy access to some of the senior citizens to get there from downtown.
One question, because right in that area, there was going to be a vendor that was going to be like a barbecue type of thing that we approved at one point.
Yeah, across the street.
Vendor, that has gone away. He is not pursuing that any further.
That was across the street on that triangle property.
That's right, it was just north of that, yeah.
Any other discussion? Is there a motion?
Already did it.
There's a motion and a second. Let's call the roll. Thank you. I'm waking up.
Bowen,
Aye.
Jones,
Aye.
Ince,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Ollenberger,
Aye.
Prop.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Next item, residential design standards variance request for the closure of one window, reduction of 3 windows for the property at 402 West 14th Avenue.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. As you just mentioned, the applicant's requesting approval of 4 variances from the city's residential design standards. The subject property is located at 402 West 14th Avenue, which is the northwest corner of 14th and Iowa Street. The parcel itself is about 7,500 square feet in size and contains a two-story, two-family residential structure which was built prior to 1920. We do not have the exact year of construction on that. The surrounding area, up on the screen, I have a land use map. The surrounding area is almost a 50-50 mix of single and two-family residential uses, and this entire area is zoned to R2, two-family residence district. Now, this is an after-effect request, as the owner has already made the modifications without city approval or building permits. The Inspection Services Division discovered the violations and notified our office in regard to the window modifications. And just up on the screen, I just have an aerial of the site. I apologize that it's a little washed out. All right. Now, the city zoning ordinance establishes design standards for single and two-family homes with the overall purpose and intent to maintain the basic architectural quality of residences within the community to minimize adverse impacts on adjacent properties and neighborhoods resulting from architectural and building construction practices that may detract from the character and appearance of the neighborhood as a whole, and to ensure compatible design between existing and new homes. Now, these standards apply to all single and two-family structures within a city, and the regulation that's in play here is that all existing window openings on a front and side building facades shall be maintained and not closed or filled totally or partially. And there's a 10% variation allowed in height to width proportion if the standard size replacement windows cannot fit into the existing window opening. Now, the Plan Commission is authorized to grant variances from the strict application of the standards when it's determined that one or more of the following apply. Number 1, that the intent of the standards have been incorrectly interpreted, or 2, standards do not apply to this particular project, and 3, enforcement of the standards causes unnecessary hardship. Okay, up on the screen I have aerials showing the subject property. Again, I apologize, it's very washed out. On the upper left corner is a front view of the house. This is the side facing Iowa Street with the red circle right there. That's one of the proposed window reductions from 34, or reducing the window size by 34%. From 32 inches by 21 inches down to 21 inches by 21 inches. And this one serves a remodeled kitchen. On this photo on the lower left, this back window over here is a window that has been already closed off completely. This over here, there's 2 windows on the northern facade. Both are being requested or have been already reduced in size. This upper story one is a bathroom window, reducing it from about 38%, 34 by 17 down to 21 by 17. And this one here is another kitchen window. It's kind of a corner with a corner mate with this one here. And this is being another reduction by 34%, 32 by 21 down to 21 by 21, which is the same size as the window that was installed on east facade. Okay, the first design variance request is to allow an existing bathroom window located on the first floor west side elevation to the home to be removed or closed, and closed. This window, or picture, I'm sorry, I'm going to go to the next one here. Okay. It's this window right here, which has been closed already. The primary reason given by the applicant for the removal is that the bathroom already has a second window, and the one which has been closed faces a neighboring house, which is only 20 feet away. This is an overhead aerial showing the approximate location of the window and the close proximity to the neighbor's driveway and the neighboring house, and he believed there was a privacy concern. Staff is in support of this request. We understand the concerns with privacy and the fact that the bathroom already has or had two windows originally. The distance from the property line off of 14th Avenue, it's pretty far. It's approximately 70 feet. And looking at this elevation here, that bathroom window is a different size than the other three windows on that facade, so you'll get a more uniform look. And staff is in the opinion that this will not adversely affect the structure's architectural design and or neighborhood character or curb appearance of the block. The next request is for the upper story bathroom window, which is on the north facade of the building, this being Iowa Street right here. This one picture here shows the current condition of the window being closed off and reduced in size. This one's hard to tell, but the original window went almost all the way down to the floor, about 4 inches from the bottom of the bathroom floor. And the petitioner is stating that the window was reduced in size, again, for privacy concerns. Pretty much the whole wall of that bathroom was open to visibility from the outside, and potential safety concerns with the glass being so close to the bathroom floor. Staff, again, is in support of this variance request. Architecturally, the reduction in size will not have a dramatic effect. The two windows on that north facade are going to be similar in size, so we're going to have uniform window sizes on that facade. And then last but not least, I kind of lumped requests C and D together for the kitchen remodel. This involves the reduction of two first floor kitchen windows, one on the north elevation and the other on the east elevation, being the east and north right here. And these two shots show the new windows that have been installed, which are now 21 inch by 21 inch in size, which was a reduction of 34%. The applicant claims that the reduction was needed to accommodate new kitchen cabinets, as the original windows were below the new countertop level. This is really hard to see, but on the far right, there's two pictures of the finished kitchen remodel. Had the original windows still been installed, the bottom of the windows would have been below the counter, making it not feasible or impractical or impossible for the applicant to install the kitchen counters as designed. His intent to make the kitchen more updated, more functional. And again, with this window right here on the north facade, again, during the remodel, the petitioner installed new countertops where the original windows would have been below the countertop level. Again, staff is in support of these two requests. The window reductions will not affect the look of the home. I'm sorry. And again, on the north facade, both these new windows are of the same size, so we have uniform sizes on there. And on the window on the east facade, it's kind of tucked underneath the covered porch and not as in your face as had it been if it was on the level, the same facade face as the rest of the house. With that, staff is recommending approval of these variances. I'll go through them. For number A, staff is recommending approval of the variance request to permit the closure of the window on the west side facade with the following finding and condition: that the standards do not apply to this particular project because the proposed window closure will not adversely affect the structure's architectural design, the neighborhood character, or curb appearance. We are placing a condition on there, which is in your staff report, but I did modify it a little bit, that the applicant obtains pertinent building permits and completes exterior restorations within 6 months after Plan Commission approval. Recommendation B, this is for the upper story bathroom window reduction. Again, staff is recommending approval of the reduced window size with the same finding, the following finding, and the condition that, again, the owner obtains building permits for the work, and in addition, that all the window trim and siding be restored to match the other windows within 6 months of Plan Commission approval. And lastly, both requests C and D, staff's recommending approval of both of these window reductions with the same conditions as item B, with the applicant getting building permits and the applicant installing trim around the window which matches the other windows on the home, and replace the missing siding. So that's it. And should I go over the findings, or?
Well, if it's consensus of the Plan Commission that the modifications that are being proposed, that the standards don't apply to those, you have to make a finding to that effect, because it's more like a judicial type of thing. So you'd make the recommendation to approve the variance with a finding that design standards don't apply. If you feel that they do apply, you'd have to do a finding stating why they apply and why you're denying. So it's a little bit different than a regular approval. You just have to add those findings to it.
Okay, so technical question, we would need to add this statement on page 5 of the staff report. The window modifications do not apply to the standards,
If it's a consensus of the Plan Commission.
if that's our view. Otherwise, the other.
Correct.
Technical questions, Jeff?
Yeah, a question on the condition. I don't necessarily disagree with staff's findings on here as far as all these different changes, but I did question, why are we giving them 6 months?
I think, that's the standard time frame for conditional use. Variance requests. The permits have to be pulled within 6 months and show that work's been started already, otherwise the variance becomes void.
But I guess my question is, if he would have if he would have done what they were told, or what they were supposed to in the first place, they would have had the 6 months. What I'm saying is why are we giving them 6 additional months to finish the changes made to the window openings and not some lesser part, because they've already done 90% of the work. All they have to do is finish the enclosing.
Right, and the owner is here. When he comes up to make a statement, he could probably address what his time frame is, and you could possibly adjust it. I think the 6 months time frame was really put on these as a condition to keep the owner to task, that it doesn't stay in a state of half completion.
And that's to my point, why we
And
give them
again,
so
6
long,
months. Yeah,
I would have given them a lot lesser.
For the variance.
Yeah, I would have given them a lot lesser time than.
And he may not need that much time, I don't know.
All right.
Ed?
Just out of curiosity, did you guys look at the permit history here at all? Like, did you look at just historical?
Yeah, historically, the current owner, I believe, bought the property in summer of last year, was it? Okay, but prior to that, permits had been taken out on a regular basis for, I saw a water heater. What else was there? But permits have been pulled historically for the property.
Okay. It kind of, this whole thing looks kind of cobbled together in a really, really sort of confusing way, and that's adding to, I guess, my confusion in approving some of these things, because there's windows that didn't match to begin with, that, you know, materials that obviously are incompatible and things like that. So we're kind of looking at a Frankenstein monster that is becoming even more of a monster, but I don't know, so.
That was not a technical question.
Permit history was. Sorry, it ventured into opinion. I apologize.
Are there other technical questions?
I don't know if it's a technical
Carol.
question or not, but the neighbor who wrote the letter opposing this, has anybody had discussion, has any of the staff had discussions with
Yes.
her to describe why the,
Pretty much, I did speak with Ms. Keplinger, and she was unable to attend the meeting, so she decided to send a letter, and pretty much everything that me and her discussed was indicated in the letter that she submitted to the city. So that was included in the packet.
so she's been given the response, but this is
Yes.
technical. Just want to make sure.
Any other technical questions? Anybody from the audience that wants to speak to this?
One audience
Please.
member here.
Name and address.
Frank Heisler, 1443 West 3rd Ave here in Oshkosh. Okay, well, I showed up here to answer the questions. To address the first one right off the bat, why does it look like a Frankenstein monster? There's a work stoppage in place. I can't do anything. Or those windows would have been, I already have 4 boxes of that siding sitting in my garage, which would nicely go around it, including the wood trim to exactly match the original trim that's in place. We didn't come, I didn't.
And I didn't mean to insult.
No, it's fine, it's fine.
The house to begin with.
Oh, no, it is beaten with an ugly tree.
Right.
Never mind the stick, this thing is horrid looking.
I wasn't.
No, I didn't take it personal, don't worry, it's all good. With the reduction of windows, when I was upstairs to the bathroom, the very first thing my 4-year-old son did was walked over to that bathroom window and put his hand on the screen. I had a serious security problem with that, a very serious one. With dealing with the downstairs kitchen, we did every possible combination on paper with the cabinets to try to figure out what to do, because we have, in the kitchen, we have an entranceway from the outside, from the living room, from the bathroom. There's nowhere to put cabinets in those 2 particular walls. We only have that corner one where these 2 windows are, and when I got the house, the cabinets were in front of it, they had packed it with newspaper older than me. They had towels, every other fabric or whatever, and we were pulling it out, the stuff was crumbling in our hands. That was our idea to correct the gap, but the windows still existed. Everything is done in an overkill. The windows weren't cobble jobbed, those are actually overdone. There's 2 studs in between that frame, and it was more than capable of supporting it. I didn't come to that decision easily to reduce those windows. I really didn't, because I really don't like screwing with windows. There's too many nightmares to me with them, but I didn't come to that easily. You know, it's not like I just figured, oh, you know, Windows is garbage, let's put a new one in. No, I had a reason for it. The bathroom one downstairs, when I got the house, that was 4 2x4s and a plexiglass. There was no decent window. The outside, they had 2 outside windows that were in place, but the inside one was just a piece of plexiglass in there. And I figured the exact distance between the window that's been removed and the one that's existing is 5 feet, 8.5 inches from edge to edge. And that window there that's closed off is about 1.5 feet in front of a toilet. So if you're squatting, your neighbor sees it. That's the biggest thing, is why we took it out. The neighbor is great, I love the guy, but you know, I really didn't need him seeing someone do their business in there. Is there any other questions? Oh, pertaining to the letter. She stated in there dealing with extensive electrical work done, extensive plumbing work done, and havoc work done. She's never was in the property. So unless she entered that property without my permission, I don't see how she could have seen that being done. But there was no heater work done. The only electrical work done is replacing outlets that were extremely worn out, which I honestly didn't realize I needed a permit to change outlets. But don't worry, building inspectors have put the screws to me. I'm paying the fines for it. And plumbing was just vanities and sinks, that's it. So we're dealing with all that. Any other questions while I'm here?
Could you address the time frame that you think you would need to
Do you need 6 months?
I'm ready to go now if this work stoppage gets taken off of me. I would say, weather permitting, because Mother Nature's off her meds, I would say 2 months at the most. And that's accounting for Mother Nature and her temper tantrums. But honestly, like I said, I have the boxes of shingles sitting in my garage. I have wood cut to fit already.
Okay, John?
Just one question, just because I know we have a property on farther up on 14th that
Oh,
was
okay.
a single family, which was turned into a two-family. Now, is that the case with this one also?
This was converted at somewhere in its history.
Okay, because that, I understand the window problems as far as how rooms don't match one. All of a sudden, you have to put in a bathroom, you have to put in a kitchen, things like that. I know the kitchen windows in the house that we have are only like this far off the ground. And the window's only this big. So I understand where that's coming from, but, so you're basically making up for what somebody else did.
I walked into
Kind
a
of
nightmare.
They created the Frankenstein, you're actually trying to
Yeah,
turn her into a date for the prom.
trying.
Yeah, I just wanted to see where that was coming from on that.
Any other questions? Well, as you know, Plan Commission does not like people going ahead with projects without coming to us first.
I'm finding that out.
And so, however, from my perspective, these closures that you've made look like the thing to do, and we likely would have approved it if you'd come in first. So, we're sorry about that, but,
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I jumped the gun and tried to do stuff around you guys.
okay. Any other questions? I guess not. Thank you very much. Nobody else here to speak to the item. Back to the commission. Jeff?
I would move to approve with the finding that the base standard modifications do not apply in this particular instance, as it would not adversely affect the structure's architectural design and neighborhood character or curb appearance of the block.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Discussion. Jeff?
Just to say, the reasoning behind it is, again, I agree with him on the second floor, having a window anywhere near a second floor that's down to the floor, for me, creates a potential dangerous situation, especially with little kids who can quickly, don't understand the screen isn't going to hold their 20 or 30-pound weight, and out the window they go. So that's one reason. The other one is, having that window on the side back in the back bathroom, again, is a privacy issue, but again, I don't see any reason to even have that window back in the back so close. And then the ones in the front, to me, are just consistent, in size, and wouldn't, if you're using the same trim and the same molding around it and stuff, a year or two down the road, nobody's even going to know that was ever modified.
Okay. Any other discussion? Any interest in putting another time frame on it, or should we? We're going to trust that you'll do it quickly. Ready for the vote? Call the roll, please.
Bowen,
Aye?
Holmes,
Aye.
Kentz,
Aye.
Cummings,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Nolenberger, Cobb.
Aye.
Motion carried 7-0.
Now, we've got the review of the 2015 Consolidated Annual Performance and Evaluation Report for Community Development Block Grant Program.
Go for it. All right. Every year, the city reports to you what expenditures we have made from our Community Development Block Grant Program. And we're looking at the 2015 program year, which runs from May 1st, 2015 to April 30th, 2016. And based on that time frame, the city has spent over $1 million on various programs and activities that benefit the community, and specifically benefiting low to moderate income households and or persons. The 2015 allocation was $725,000, excuse me, and we had program income of $264,000. That gave us $990,000 plus some carryover funds from previous years to spend on various activities. Based on the available funds and what we spent 70.74% of our funds for activities benefiting low to moderate income persons and households, 10.36% on public service programs, and 9.48% on planning and administration programs. The low to moderate income activities included such things as the housing rehab program. We undertook 22 owner-occupied housing rehab properties. Also includes 10 programs for public service agencies. The city put in $85,000 and our partners put in an additional $20,000 for $105,000. Other activities we did was demolition of slum and blight properties in the central city area and or in any of the neighborhoods. And we also did tree plantings, made some neighborhood improvements. Staff worked with the Millers Bay Neighborhood Association on several projects, and also in the Middle Village neighborhood. And then we also acquired 2 properties, one in the River East neighborhood and one in the Near East neighborhood, and both of those properties will be demolished in this current program year. Part of the administration funding was the oversight of the entire block grant program, as well as the city contracts with the Fair Housing Council of Northeast Wisconsin for assisting the city in fair housing enforcement. We're accepting public comments through July 28th, at which time the CAPER will be due to HUD for their review and hopefully approval.
I have a comment.
Okay.
I serve on the Winnebago County Human Service Board, and Friendship Place is now not.
Correct. They're no longer in the city.
No, and that is unfortunate because the mental illness people have no place in which to go for their free time. And evidently this was closed because there was not enough funding. Right now, Human Services is trying to take people up to Neenah so that they, however, somebody wants to stay 2 hours, somebody wants to stay 3. So I would just, my comment is that we do have a need in the city to have a facility for them to go, and I would be hoping that you would be working with that.
Yes, city staff does work with this Housing Coalition, which is a group of different organizations that try and address all the public service needs of the community. So there has been some discussion on how we can further address those issues.
I would suggest a home being bought perhaps on Jefferson, I believe it is, Main Jefferson, behind the Rolfe community housing. That could be easily transformed into a place that would offer games and TV entertainment and so on and so on. It's close to downtown. There's a lot of people in the Rolfe Hotel that would probably utilize that. It would be a benefit to the city to have that done.
Ed?
How does just because this is sort of a new format, it looks like. How does this may or may not be because it's a new format, how does the plan year correspond to program year? This is program year 2015. On page 5, for instance, we see plan year running from 2013 to 2015. Is that items budgeted in that year that were done this year? How does that
Yes.
all work?
Yes. That just shows the program year funds were expended during the 15 program year. So, for example, on the housing rehab, we had some 2013 funds that weren't used on a project, so we reallocated them to a new project. So that's why it was still showing a 2013 expenditure.
Oh, so those are 2013
15 funds expended in the 2015 program year.
I thought we spent, for lack of a better term, everything in the program year.
No, there's usually some
Is there carryover?
Yep, there's
So it looked like
carryover.
on line 1, you've got unexpended CDBG funds at end of previous program year.
It doesn't show up on that form.
Okay.
On that, that first form, the PR 26, it doesn't show up. The carryover funds don't show up on there.
Okay, so that 725,849 is still what we were allocated in
Correct.
2015.
Correct.
But we had some funds from 2013.
13, 14.
So then the individual expenditures then in lines, well, I don't know, on the bottom of page 5. I'm just trying to understand so say that like 222,701, is that all was that one expenditure on one project? Or was that an amalgam of a number of different projects that were planned in 2014 and funded from 2014 dollars in
correct.
2015?
Correct.
Okay, so that's not,
It's not one project, it's any projects that were carried over from the
From
14
that
into the 15.
year, okay.
Because most of our projects will start, let's say, like in mid-summer,
Mm-hmm.
late summer, so they'll try and get as much done as work as they
They'll roll
can.
into the next-
And then
Yeah.
winter sets in, so a lot of exterior work and/or interior might have to wait until the following spring to be done.
I guess I'm just not used, and again, this is probably this new form, I'm not used to seeing single line item expenditures in the $200,000 range, because usually the expenditures in this program are relatively small,
Right.
and I'm not used to seeing them broken out. If we had
Yes.
222,000 that we were spending on one project.
Yeah, no.
The way this report
Curious.
is too is that they go by voucher number as well. So you have an activity number,
Sure.
which is a specific activity like neighborhood initiatives or neighborhood rehab, and then we expend the money and then we do a voucher for them to pay us back.
Right.
Right.
Or to pay us that money.
And
so
whatever
they break it,
falls
whatever's
into
on that
that.
one voucher.
So-
Right, so we
Right.
had $200,000 over the 6 months before we did a voucher, all those will come out as one line item.
Yeah. That, and also the last couple of years, we've had significant program income, over 200,000 in both years.
Right.
So by the time we spend that, because program income has to be spent first, and then you can go to the allocation that we do for all the categories.
Yeah.
So then that is delayed slightly.
And
as we're
honestly, I
trying
think
to
it's
spend
because
the
we've
program
been
income.
looking at these in one format for the
Correct.
last, however long.
Yeah, well, now everything's...
Now it's different, and now I'm seeing different numbers,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to make sure I understand what.
Everything is through this program now through HUD.
Right.
It's called IDIS,
Yeah.
and so it's,
No, and it all looks fine. I mean, this is what matters, you know,
Yes.
and that all looks great, so
yep.
nicely done. I know how much of a headache this is.
Any other questions?
No action is needed. just-
No action is
This
needed.
is just informational.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else to come before us today? Motion to adjourn.
I guess the only thing else, oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. That's all right. Well,
Favor, stay up.
You can't talk once we're adjourned.
Official business, so this- you can adjourn.
okay. All in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Now, unofficial business.
Only thing I was gonna say is that